So I've been looking at photographs today. I'm one of the folks who takes pictures and helps put them up on the website to keep everybody sort of in the loop on what we're doing here. And we've got the continuing process of moving the meditation hall. And so I put together some pictures this morning. And what came up for me is, you know, like any large endeavors, the enthusiasm and the joyous effort to begin a great, exciting undertaking sort of propels the endeavor in the beginning. And that's what happened when we, decided to move the meditation hall. The enthusiasm, the excitement was so incredible. And what ends up happening, at least in my mind, I'm trying to make an analogy here, is that all these kind of big endeavors, after a while, the enthusiasm and the joyous effort transform into a fortitude and a focused kind of attention. Because each one of the points of this hall moving, whether it's building the forms or pouring the concrete, digging the ditch for the electrical line, then dropping it down, all these little pieces require a certain timing and procedure so that they're very successful in and of themselves, so that the bigger picture can succeed. So we're at the point now where the forms were built and then the concrete got poured, but then we had to wait for a few days so that it could harden and season and dry so it's nice and sturdy for the hall. And then they poured another part of the wall, and then we tarred it, and then now it's sitting for a while, and then John came in and put in the trench. So all these pieces that you can see, the enthusiasm is still there, but now you're starting to look at these smaller processes within the larger endeavor. And I'm trying to think of how I could make an analogy to my Dharma practice. So there's coming up here, we have our 3-month retreat, and I always get so excited before these because the community and our guests who have come here, we work so incredibly hard and we have so much fun being here and offering service and practicing together. But by the time October, November come, we're all a little bit tired. You know, we've done a lot of practice because offering service here at the Abbey is so much a part of our practice. What are our minds doing when we're undertaking these smaller endeavors and things go awry or they don't go the way that we want? So the retreat is coming up, and I can feel that kind of enthusiasm and excitement that I get just before this happens, because we really close the doors of the Abbey and we all go into retreat for 3 months, and we have some people coming to join us. And then I'm thinking, because I've done a few of these, is that after about, I'd say 4 or 5 weeks, the enthusiasm and the joyous effort start to need to be transformed into this fortitude and this focus, because within the retreat, the experiences of practice bring up all of these things that one needs to look at. So within the whole retreat structure, you have on a daily and a weekly and a monthly, the practice changes. Your attention changes, how you see yourself, how you see the practice changes. So even though you've got this big view of this 3-month retreat, within it are all these smaller processes and procedures that require a certain amount of fortitude, focus, timing, joy, revisiting it and looking at it a little bit differently. And so I'm trying to find a way to look at the hall and look at the retreat coming up and seeing some of the similarities. But in the end, the overall success of the retreat, or the overall success of the meditation hall being put back together and being refurbished, depends on all of these very sometimes not so obvious changes and shifts and processes. And so I think that all of our Dharma practice, whether we're going on retreat or moving to a new place or going to a center, receiving teachings from our teacher, that they all have within them the larger context, these smaller processes of mind and mental states and of practice. And that's really where the rubber hits the road, because if any of those pieces are not done as sincerely and as earnestly and as clearly as we can, well, I mean, everything shifts and everything's fine, but you really want to make sure that the little pieces within that larger context support each other and interface with each other, because that's when it really starts to work. And you can see the dependent arising of our practice, that on the bigger view, it really starts to to appear as all these little pieces and all these little parts that in the beginning don't seem to have, like John digging the electrical line, what does it have to do with the pump truck being here? But it does have something to do with it. But it was a little bit farther down the road, and it is indeed interconnected. So our practice is very much like refurbishing a meditation hall.